Raise your glass, light it up. I can never get enough. Up in the air. Raise your glass, light it up. I can never get enough. Whoa, whoa. Raise your glass, light it up. I can never get enough. Whoa, whoa. The night's not over 'cause I'm still sober. The night's not over 'cause I'm sober. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Rockpile Report podcast. I'm your host, Bill, season ticket holder Drew Gear. That's my producer, Chris Kruger, and God, does it feel good to be back from the bye week. I feel refreshed. Doesn't everybody else? Chris, how'd you spend your bye week?
Give me a second while I change this camera.
What, it die on you?
No. It's
So,
called how your live stream video thing begins, and then I have to switch to my camera. Let's go to the last week. I went to the... I hate to... we call out Bruce Nolan here. Bruce Nolan does not believe in superstition at all. Like, when I play roller hockey in the summer, I don't wash my jersey at all during the season. That's just something I do, superstitious about it. I went to the ATM this week, and the minute I got money out of the ATM, specifically for gambling, I knew I was going to have a good week of gambling. I have it in my desk here. I'll pull it out and I'll show you where. It's not all of this. I should have it in here unless I hid it somewhere. I got to go through all this money. Sorry, you guys can't see it.
I don't like how he's literally just fanning out $100 bills here.
It's not $100 bills. I don't know where it is.
Those 20s are, and you just are
20s.
Oh,
But
okay.
Here's the deal.
So you're not actually rich.
Here's the deal. I went to the ATM. I got $60 out. The middle 20, old school $20 bill.
Oh.
So I go, I'm going to have a good week of gambling. Did a two leg on Mississippi State to cover 9 on Florida. They backdoor covered. And then the over 61 in A&M in Arkansas, that hit at the end of the third quarter. So then I rolled that into Sunday, the original $40 bet. I go, let me just take some like money line. I know this is going to hit Kansas City, New England. I went Cleveland minus 2.5. And then the kicker where my 20 came into play is I hit all those at 1 o'clock. And the last game I needed was Denver on the money line.
No way.
And yeah, so I doubled up. And I think it was all because of that $20 bill I got.
Well, congratulations, Chris. Your degenerate gambling and your weird superstition has paid off for yet another week. I had one of the best weekends I've had in a long time. We had the Grills Mafia steak competition out at Palmer's Direct-to-You Market on Jefferson Road in Rochester, and it was you couldn't have asked for a better day. I mean, the weather was gorgeous. We had a group of competitors come out and put on an absolute show, and everything, Chris, like as like a business that you own and operate, why are you still over there counting your 20s again? Are you really looking for that thing?
Yeah.
This is hilarious. I hope you lost it somewhere. Because I'm a bad friend.
I did.
So I want to start this out by pouring out a little bourbon here, the Four Roses OESO, and I want to raise a glass to the Palmer's crew for helping Grills Mafia and Q42 Barbecue throw another amazing steak competition. Everybody who showed up had a blast. Even the people, Chris, the thing we've always tried to tell people is that these competitions aren't just a bunch of people standing around in a parking lot cooking food. It becomes like a tailgate. You get to see the camaraderie that breaks out when you get like people who don't know each other camping up next to each other. Next thing you know, they're swapping beers and they're telling stories and they're sharing food ideas and they're helping each other. That's unheard of in a competition setting, right?
Yes.
That doesn't happen in food competitions. And yet ours are wired like that. And then just to see the way the day went and to know that everything that went into it went to help the Veterans Outreach Center of Rochester. Just from top to bottom, I couldn't have asked for a better day. You know, my partners with Q42 were amazing, helping button up this entire thing and run it. I think we showed the Palmer's crew that we all have our roles and we do it well. The Palmer's crew, I mean, thank you for them for giving us this canvas to kind of paint this event on and helping partner with us, really partner with us to help put it together. I mean, Kaylee, Silver Fox, you guys are the best studs, as always. There was a moment that struck me, Chris, and I think it really underscored what Grills Mafia is supposed to be about.
Does it involve the word ruminating? Somebody's already used that in the chat.
Bill's DUI is over here saying I'm druminating. Yeah, that post Kansas City tweet or text message to Chris I'll never outlive that. There was a moment in this entire thing that really kind of brought it all home for me. The winner, Chris. So in barbecue competitions, you have your winners of your individual segments, and then you have your reserve grand champion and your grand champion, and there's an overall prize purse. This was a 4-figure purse. There's nothing to sneeze at. The gentleman who won it is someone who started their competitive cooking career with Grills Mafia events. And in fact, I'll call him up by name. I don't care if I embarrass him. Joe Christopher. Joe Christopher is the embodiment of what Grills Mafia is and is supposed to be. Because he showed up to an event like this, first of all, cracked his first beer before like 8 o'clock in the morning. He had his first beer almost as soon as they got their cook site set up. And then turned in some of the most gorgeous food I've seen. And then, even after the competition was over, stayed until the end talking to every other competitor that he had spent time with that day. From guys he knew, guys he had competed with before, to people who were just there for their very first time doing their first competition, just giving them tips and, hey, if you do this and that. Joe Christopher's a guy who started his career with us and has now gone to multiple national championships for SCA steak competitions. And yet he comes out and does all of our events. And when he wins this one, he's trying to flag me down. And I blow him off because I already know what he's doing. So he corners Reed. And he gives the prize purse back and tells us to donate it to the Veterans Outreach Center in his name. Just hey, do this for me. Donate it. Just make sure it gets donated with the rest of the cash. Not even in his name, but in the name of like Grills Mafia. And I get to go over to Brian, the president of Palmer's Meats, and I get to tell him, I'm like, you have no idea what just happened, do you? And he's like, no, hey, what was that? What, is something wrong? And I'm like, no, nothing's wrong. The guy who won it all decided he just wanted to give it back to this charity that happens to mean a lot to you. I hope Brian got it. Brian, thank you for the opportunity to be a part of what Palmer's has going on down there. And also, I hope that you felt it the way we felt it. Like this partnership and just that vibe of what, like that's what Grills Mafia is. Joe Christopher is the poster child for Grills Mafia. And what I love about it is that if I were to say that to his face, he would punch me in the arm and just be like, nah, I'm just lucky. Nah, I'm just lucky. There's nothing to it. No biggie. It's not a big deal. Chris, giving away that kind of money is a big deal.
I couldn't do it.
I know. That's what makes him better than me. It makes him better than you. It makes him better than most people. And yet that's what Grills Mafia is. It's not just a tailgate. It's not just a group of people who drink in a parking lot before a Bills game. It's not just the idea that you like, oh, we have a brand that we're going to sell a product under, or it's not a logo on a flag. It's good people finding each other under the banner of, hey, let's have some fun, cook some food, and help some people. That's what Grills Mafia is. And I love that the Palmer's family and the Palmer's staff and the Palmer's crew has really gravitated and latched onto this the way we have. Like, I love it, and I love that we get to share that with them, and we get to share that with all of you guys. Steve Noble in the comments. Love Joe Christopher. Cracked several beers with him in Texas this past March. A fellow steak competitor of his. It was one of the most rewarding days I've had in a very long time. And I think it really was kind of proof positive that this Grills Mafia thing that we've set out to do with myself and Reed Ferguson and the Q42 barbecue crew, it's not just about making a product, and it's not just about selling a thing, and it's not about making a partnership. It's about building a family. And I hope that everybody involved with it this weekend felt a little bit of that. I consider myself incredibly lucky that I get to be a part of this with everybody who showed up for it and for everybody who will show up in the future. Guys, raise a glass to Grills Mafia. Cheers. God, that's good. So, I didn't really watch a ton of football this weekend. I watched Alabama. I watched Alabama wallop Tennessee. Chris, I didn't watch a ton of NFL football. Did I miss something?
No, because all the 1 o'clock games were shit. I had money on games, and they were all shit.
The reason I'm asking is because it was an amazing weekend. It was a great weekend. The weather was gorgeous. You couldn't complain about anything that went on. And yet I open up Twitter on Monday, and everything's on fire. I feel like Frank Drebin standing outside going, there's nothing to see here, and there's things exploding behind me. What happened to all of you? Like, I know things that happened this week that I'm shocked aren't getting more press. And at the same time, there are things that this Bills fan base is infuriated by that I'm having a hard time as a hyperbolic individual wrapping my head around. And I'm asking for some of you to get in the ring with me on this. Okay? That's why I love these live shows. I want the interaction. I want to know what the hell is going on with you people and why is everything coming off the rails? Chris, what's a thing that you're now mad about today?
I mean, I'm fine. I mean, some people might be mad that the Patriots blew out the Titans and that the Chiefs blew out the Raiders.
Neither one of those teams have a quarterback. Why are you surprised that this happened? Guys, I want to start this off. The theme of tonight's show is talking about topics that I don't think are getting enough press among Bills fans, and also ones that I think are getting way too much. I want you to follow me as we go on a journey through these ideas. First of all, here's a topic I don't think is getting enough press. This week, the NFL was forced to confront, because of data and data collection and just analysis, okay? Proof that the league has broken its own rules to benefit one singular team. And it's the team everyone would have assumed that it was, or assumed that it would be. Somehow this got bypassed. Like when I saw my Twitter feed just full of angry things, I assumed that somewhere in there someone would touch on this, but instead it was Joe Brady this, oh, Bobby Babbitt that, Sean McDermott, Brandon Bean are the Pits. And I go, guys, do you not understand? Like this story got bypassed the way like the Epstein list made everything, everyone overlooked the fact that the government basically admitted that aliens were real. The government literally came out and said, hey guys, everyone calm down. We're going to finally admit that there are aliens and we're going to release the evidence. And everyone went, boo, show us the flight logs. And they were like, no, guys, do you hear what we're saying? Space travel is real. Aliens have been here. We'll show you the bodies that we pulled from the Roswell crash. And they go, boo, no one cares. Who was on the island? Like, somehow, we as fans have missed the point on this. Like, you have conspiracy theories. Roswell, New Mexico. For years, everybody who talked about it was branded a moron. There's no aliens, even though Velcro and like microwave technology and all of these things just happened after the Roswell crash in New Mexico. There's things like, Chris, what? The existence of the Illuminati and this like one world government they're trying to build, who if you say it out loud, you immediately sound like Alex Jones. And I say it like I'm chuckling now because when I say it, I feel like an idiot. Bigfoot, flat earth theory. Like there's all of these things that make you sound like a conspiracy theorist if you try to defend them. And you're right there and you're treated on that level if you talk about how I think the NFL screwed my football team on purpose. I think that my team got dealt a terrible hand intentionally by the NFL. And everyone goes, boo, you're just a sore loser. Oh, cry more. Well, guess what, Chris? Academics from the University of Texas, El Paso, better known as UTEP, if you follow the NCAA tournament, they took time out of their lives to study 13,000 penalty calls in the NFL from 2015 to 2023. And what they found is that of all the objectively erroneous calls that have ever been made, by virtue of the NFL rulebook as it's written, or by the league's own bylaws, there is one singular team in all of football that has been disproportionately the benefactor compared to everybody else. Who do you think it is, Chris?
I don't know.
The Kansas City Chiefs. And what's notable is that when compared to the dynasty era Patriots, who you and I used to sit here and go, well, the refs are obviously calling this for the Patriots. It wasn't nearly as a pronounced difference as it has been since Mahomes entered the NFL and became a league darling. Okay? Like, is anybody else not upset about this? When you look at this and say, hey, we're not just some off the street morons. We are the business college of UTEP University, and we can prove using data analytics that the Kansas City Chiefs have been propped up in really prominent moments by the NFL. And it just underscores everything I've been drunk and screaming about in my living room for years. And everyone goes, okay, Drew, you're just, those are sour grapes. No, it really is Buffalo against the refs. This has been happening. It's been happening for years, and everybody else's franchise had to pay the price for it. Look at this. Roy Collins, you're effing nuts. The government didn't admit shit. I like that Tracy Brewster at least admits, I was just burned out after 2 losses. I ride a crazy roller coaster of emotions. Tracy, thank you for admitting it. Okay? I like that. When you look at this, like we're going down here. Yo, Chris, check audio. There's a secondary audio with delay.
No.
No? All right, well, then it's just that guy?
Why do you think Ryan Rhodes? I just stepped out of the room for that.
See, you scared Chris away. Guys, like, when you look at this, the fact that didn't make headline news everywhere told me that you guys are out of your minds. There's 2 quotes out of this, out of their work. If you read all of their findings, it really stood out to me. Okay? This one comes from Dr. Spencer Barnes, who is a lead professor of finance at UTEP's College of Business. The fact that postseason penalties consistently favored one franchise, while similar dynasties in the NFL showed no such pattern, points to the powerful role of financial incentives in shaping supposedly neutral decisions. And he's right. We're being told by NFL officiating that, guys, we're doing this fairly, even though every single week our eyes tell us something different. Dr. John, and I'm going to butcher this guy's last name, so I'll just put it in the show notes, Hajamaru, says this research not only deepens our understanding of sports governance, but also illustrates a larger societal concern. When financial pressure weighs heavily, impartiality erodes. Essentially, there is a lot of evidence that shows that we as NFL football fans are just marks. Okay? We're just marks. And all of this, if things ever get tight with the NFL's chosen darlings, it will be skewed to their benefit in a way that ultimately benefits the overall piggy bank of the NFL. All while causing untold amounts of emotional and liver damage to the rest of us. Great. Wonderful. I'm glad we're all doing this. And it's hilarious because I've been drunkenly pointing at TVs for years going, they're cheating. And everyone goes, well, it's NFL officiating. What are you going to do? Chris, how many more times can this happen?
A lot.
So then you go back to the Bills-Patriots game and you go, man, that's crazy the way this is being officiated. Well, it's the Bills against the New England Patriots, who at one point in time when Tom Brady was their quarterback and they were winning football games, were one of the league's most profitable franchises. And then the last time Sean Hoecht screwed us over with call after call after call after call after call, it was against the Philadelphia Eagles, who have since won 2 Super Bowls and have become one of the NFL's more profitable franchises in terms of TV draw, in terms of advertising, in terms of everything else.
Let's see if he calls that game later in December. Sean Hoecht for Eagles-Bills this December. And that's here.
Bring him here. Bring him here. Okay? I'm willing to write my Dear John letter. I'm willing to kiss the wife and kids goodbye, and I'll put him in the trunk of my car and we'll both drive to Mexico. You'll never see either one of us ever again.
Andrew Barber in the comments, I wish I didn't have to think about fighting the oligarchs when I watch my team every week. Thanks, Drew.
It's like, look, the research shows that they're screwing all of us. And yet somehow that's not the hot button issue among Bills Mafia. Hey, our team, like all of the Kansas City Chiefs' recent success has come at the Bills' expense over the course of the last 4 years. You're not mad about that? No, nobody's screaming into the ether about this except for me. I see it and I seethe. I seethe when I see it. And then you take a look at what other games might be being skewed because of this. It's not just us, right? 2 weeks worth of Bills games that have happened to be close losses featured some of the sloppiest officiating and worst calls. Meanwhile, Kansas City has managed the only 2 penalty-less wins in the last 40 years. And then there's this tweet, Chris, from Adam Schefter. If you can throw that up there, I think I sent it to you.
No.
After the conclusion of the Giants-Broncos game, the NFL said Dre Greenlaw chased after referee Brad Allen and verbally threatened him as he tried to leave the field. Yeah. No shit. No shit, that's what happened. Of course he did. Does anybody, because he knew that the refs tried to screw them. Do you remember the time Jerry Hughes chased those officials into the tunnel?
Oh, yeah, that was fun times.
Jerry Hughes was caught on camera threatening the safety and well-being of the officiating staff. And then, like 30 minutes later, during his press appearance, when the reporters asked him about it, he was just like, what? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. That didn't happen. Somebody goes, Jerry, we saw it on tape. He goes, I don't know. It wasn't me. He pulled the Shaggy. Wasn't me.
Roy Collins want to know what exactly is the discrepancy that the study found.
What they found is that the rules, the penalties that were called, if you see the volume comparative, one team versus the other, the volume in situations versus situations where they were not called, where a similar act occurred by the other team, they flagged that as, okay, well, that's inconsistent officiating. They go, okay, that's one. Here's how many times in a given game they took one rule and applied it differently, depending on what logo was on the side of your helmet. And then what they also did was they took a look at the rules that were the penalties that were called and said, okay, set in circumstance, when this flag was thrown, what is the what was the penalty? What was the rule? And was this, if you were to watch it objectively on tape, does what they called on the field match the interpretation of the rule that a layman would have reading it? And what they found is that by and large, the Chiefs benefit from a lot of calls that just kind of come out of nowhere, kind of like in the Detroit Lions game, where there's literally a law that says you can't re-officiate a play. If there's no flag, you can say it was or was not a touchdown, but if there was no flag thrown, this play is not reviewable for the purposes of throwing a flag. And then New York calls the officials and goes, hey, guys, you got to throw a flag there because that's the only way to keep this touchdown from standing. So they break their own rules in order to stop the Detroit Lions from being awarded a touchdown. In what other game does that happen against the Kansas City Chiefs? I can think of one other one. In the Tom Brady era, even though we're sitting here saying that the Tom Brady era didn't have as many as the Chiefs did, the Tom Brady era, there's a game against the New York Jets. And there's a call on the field that's called a touchdown. They're questioning whether or not did the ball carrier break the plane when he had the ball. That's it. It's either a touchdown or it's not a touchdown. That is the purpose of the review. And instead, review comes back and says, well, actually, we think that the Jets player fumbled the ball as he was crossing the plane. And so it's a fumble out of the back of the end zone and it's a touchback and the ball goes to the Patriots. You can't, by law, you can't make that call. That call is made on the field. And now the only thing you can do is judge whether or not the ball crossed the line. But you used replay to re-officiate the play. So you say you don't want a sky judge because you don't want ultimate, like you don't want the authority taken off the suits on the field, because you still want to be able to have boots on the ground that you can radio down to their ear where it'll never be recorded and just tell them, hey, put your thumb on the scale a little bit. Make this call. Make that call. And at the same time, you don't want actual accountability where every single play is reviewed. And yet nobody's freaking out about that, Chris.
Andrew Barber wanted to know, was there anything specific from Buffalo in the survey as far as data?
That was not mentioned. It's almost like when the Bills played the Houston Texans and a bunch of guys in black hats came out of the stands to go, hey, that guy meant to fair catch that ball. So you got to take the touchdown off the board.
We were just talking about that in the chat.
This is the type of thing I'm talking about. And somehow that's not what had you guys fired up, because when I read through that, I got up, I drank some whiskey, I spouted some other conspiracy theories, and it sent me down a rabbit hole, and I pissed my wife off, and then not even pissed her off. She just gets annoyed and she goes, all right, idiot. And she goes upstairs to bed, and I stay downstairs and proceed to read all about the one world government and the Illuminati and...
See, I feel like something like that gets missed when it's announced like, oh, hey, Miami and Cleveland, they're going to play in 50-mile-an-hour winds. But what about the rest? No. What? Cleveland's going to – it's windy. Tua can't throw in the wind, nor can Dylan Gabriel. It's going to be low scoring.
Yeah, was it?
No.
No, it was not. Thanks, Tua.
Miami didn't show up.
So that idea didn't get enough press. How about ideas that I think got too much press? The despondency from Bills fans about the Bills defense seems to have hit a fever pitch this past weekend. And some of that's warranted. I mean, statistically, they have put up really ugly numbers. Nothing has gone well as it traditionally does for the Bills on that side of the ball. Missed tackles, lack of impactful late down sacks, quarterback pressures that matter. The defensive line play as a whole has failed. It fell off a damn cliff. It's not good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to defend what the Bills have done defensively. But also for everyone complaining. Like, Chris, everyone got all fired up, I think, about this weekend's offensive explosion around the NFL. They're like, oh, all I saw was tweets about, oh, look at all the wide receivers being schemed open and this and that and the other thing. And I go, guys, maybe defense just around the AFC and around the NFL might suck. Has anyone stopped to consider that maybe NFL-wide defense just isn't very good right now? And I mean, trust me, I will get to the offense if you give me a damn minute. But did anybody else see what happened defensively to other teams around the AFC? Like, Chris, let's just run it down. AFC North. The Bengals, we knew they suck. They give up 33 points to a 41-year-old quarterback with limited arm strength and a weak rushing attack. But we knew they were bad. We knew the Chiefs' the Bengals defense was going to embarrass themselves most weeks. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco went out there and did what every preteen little brother playing their older brother in Madden did, and he just spammed Jamar Chase in the passing game and somehow put up 34 points?
It's on 33, maybe. I think the more, for me, the wilder stat was, I think Tomlin is now 2-10 on Thursday night.
Awesome. Somehow the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Steel Curtain defense, they got 21 pressures, 14 hurries, 3 sacks, and not a damn bit of it mattered because the Bengals ran up the score on them. Just launching it over and over and over again at Jamar Chase until it worked. And when it worked big. Like the only reason the Ravens are being slandered here, right, is because they aren't included in this is because they had a bye. But if you think about the AFC North as a whole, Chris, did anything they have done defensively this season make you think they're special?
No.
That game that the Steelers played was awful. The Ravens, I swear to God, they were on a bye week and they still could have given up a third down conversion.
Yeah.
That's how bad the Ravens defense is this season. Let's go to the AFC South. You know, there was teams down there where everyone goes, oh my God, we have to be worried about the AFC South. The Jaguars gave up 37 points to the Rams in this lopsided landslide loss. The Colts, they put up 38 points against the Chargers. And that's a story. The Colts being able to put up 38 points against the Chargers is nothing to sneeze at. And I get why people are frustrated when they go, oh my God, look at this offense and they're doing this and they're doing that. It's because they made all these moves that the Bills won't. Do you know that the 24 points that they allowed left the Chargers with an outside shot at a comeback with under it was late in the fourth, maybe 5-6 minutes left, and the Chargers still could have come back and won that game because they gave up 24 points. That matches the Bills' season high. And that's not even the most points Indy has allowed in a single game this year. They let the Dolphins torch their defense. The Titans, they're dog water. I see people comparing Cam Ward's current experience to that of Caleb Williams last year. And it's probably not far off. It's a terrible team with no coaching. They already fired their coach. That team is rudderless. Cam Ward literally got thrown to the wolves. And yet maybe Cam Ward feels worse somehow because he was I don't know. Was there an expectation that the Titans were going to be able to build something around him quickly?
No, I think one of the more interesting stats that I read from the firing of Callahan was I think it's the 3rd or 4th year in a row that the number 1 pick in the previous draft, their coach has been fired during the season, or at least during their rookie.
Awesome.
By the end of their rookie year. Because that happened, Caleb Williams, they fired Eberflus. Who else? Who was before Caleb?
I don't know, but Teddy Bandana in the comments, the NFL neutered defense with all the pussyfoot rules. They want to turn the sport into soccer with these soft-ass rules. I still remember when safeties were allowed to crush receivers. That's what made Andre Reed special. The fact that Andre Reed, with his size and build, wasn't afraid to go over the middle, that's what made him special in that era of football, because safeties could just come out there and clean you out. And you had to be a man. You had to face that. You had to take that hit sometimes. Knowing you're going to take it, get up, walk it off, go make the next play. Now you see wide receivers, Chris. Well, we'll get to this in a second. Houston Texans, keep that in mind. In the AFC West, defensively, the Raiders' defense was so pathetic, their offense was only allowed to run 30 plays. They had the same number of first downs as they had total plays on offense. And that's just, you can't force a punt. 9 teams in the AFC gave up more points this week than the Bills have all season. That's more than half the conference. And that's with some hilarious amounts of ineptitude being supplied by the Bills coaching staff and players. That the hilarious Cole Bishop tackle, where he doesn't shove him out of bounds, he tries to wrap tackle on the boundary. I don't know, guys. Even if the Bills make moderate corrections to their play calling style and really get to the strengths of their players and individual talents and produce even a slightly more cohesive unit, I'm confident that compared to what the NFL has showed me in 1 week of watching some football and watching box scores and looking at what everybody else is doing, like, we will level things out here back to closer to what our standard used to be. And there's some really low-hanging fruit that shows where some of your improvement can be made. Like, average target separation per week against the Bills defense and their ranking. And they were saying high is bad. Week 1, the Bills were giving up 4.3 target per separation. In week 2 against the Jets, it was 4.8. It was the worst, but that's okay because we weren't scared of them. We weren't trying to stop the pass that week. The following week, though, against Miami, 5.2. Again, we were the worst in the NFL. Week 4 against New Orleans, it came down to 3.9. We were 7th. Week 5 against the Patriots, we were 3.2. And against Atlanta, we were 3.6. It has holes in the metric, according to Anthony Prohaska, but it gives an idea of space created against. And then what they talked about, what they spent a lot of time talking about over there at Cover 1 this week, Eric Turner, and just spoke at length about this idea that all of these simple defensive concepts that they used to run, cover 3, simple cover 3, you're now seeing guys almost look like they're panicked pre-snap. You're watching guys not tapping each other on the helmet or on the back to be like, hey, let's shift the play. Hey, this guy motions, so let's change this. No. They're lost, and they're trying to get to their spot pre-snap before they get caught in limbo. Chris, that sounds like players who are thinking more than they're reading, reacting, and coming downhill, right?
Yeah.
And what it looks like, just not being aligned, not executing properly. It's the same on the defensive line. They're shuffling around pre-snap. Defensive end, defensive tackles. But again, not adjusting to a play call change, just not lined up properly. Messing up spot drop zone coverage, which Anthony Prohaska describes as day 1 camp install stuff. That's not a talent issue. That's a direct indictment of the coaches that we added to the staff this season. And when you really look at what we did on defense, I know every Bills fan, myself included, applauded the fact that we went out and got a guy like Ryan Nielsen because we were like, oh, he coached defensive linemen. He can get the best out of some of our young guys. He's going to bring this guy up. He's going to help with this. Well, yeah, and then you made him a senior defensive assistant. And I don't know what level of gravitas he holds in terms of talking to Bobby Babich about game plan and about install and about how certain units should be functioning. I don't know what Mike Pellegrino, how much gravitas is he being given to coach our defensive backs? Because while you can point to the work he did with the New England Patriots and the grooming of Gonzalez, and maybe they brought him in because they said, hey, look, he helped Gonzalez and now he can help, what's his face, Hairston. Well, that hasn't materialized. But also, what are you teaching these guys? And the fact that you're working with the slot cornerback group, but we're not playing them now, and we're playing more base defense. Al Holcomb being the linebackers coach. It's like you get all these guys together and you wonder what concepts are you teaching these guys and how have you all muddied up what the Buffalo Bills have done for the last half a decade? Because it's clear there's been a departure from what used to be wash, rinse, repeat for the Buffalo Bills on defense. This nickel-based defense with some man defense, more physical elements built into it, some of it driven by the safety room, some A and B gap blitzes from the linebacker core. So much has changed. I don't see linebackers walking up into the A and B gap and then bailing out into coverage anymore. What I see is guys standing at depth and trying to crash down, and it's not working. I see a lot of things. And yet, even with all of this stuff where you can point to the fact that maybe there are too many cooks in the kitchen, and you hope that using this bye week, the Buffalo Bills have kind of quieted the noise inside the defensive play calling room and inside the game planning room and tried to figure out how to get back to playing simple read and react defense. We're still somehow better than a giant chunk of the NFL. The Colts that everybody's so scared of just let the Chargers, who are missing half their team, their left tackle, their right tackle, all three of their starting running backs, they let this team hang 24 on them. I think we get too caught up in our own thing, right? Even at its worst, our defense has not been the worst in the NFL by a wide margin. And that's what I got an eye full of this weekend. I think that if the coaches can get together and figure out how to simplify all of the nonsense that's been thrown around on the defensive side of the football through 6 weeks, I don't know. I think there's a road to make enough of an improvement that the Buffalo Bills can realistically finish in the top third of the NFL for defense. I don't think it's out of the question. I think we have the tools. I think we have some incoming talent to help get us there. I think there's a lot of things here. So for all the people who are screaming into the ether about the defense, guys, goose fraba, it's crazy. You're out of your minds. Calm down. This offensive explosion that you all are like, oh my God, why can't the Bills do this? You're like, you don't realize it's coming at somebody else's expense. It means that team really sucks at what they're doing. I'm just trying to look here through the comments here. If a face mask is a penalty and not just a fine, hip drop should be just the same. I've seen more injuries from hip drops than face masks, 100%. Now, it's incredible to me the way that penalties have gotten rolled out over the course of this. NFL said last season they weren't flagging hip drop tackles, only handing out fines. Yeah, this is a hilarious thing, right? They go, we care about player safety. And then they let hip drop tackles just go. And people get hurt. And then they go, hey, we care about player safety. And then here's Sam Darnold. I tweeted out last night. I was like, stop me if you've heard this before. Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair is just egregiously, aggressively tried to injure another opposing quarterback, and the league does nothing. He got flagged. He got flagged, and people are like, oh, well, that was soft, but he'll never get the benefit of the doubt. You don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. You've tried to kill 3 different quarterbacks in your very short career, Azeez Al-Shaair. And here's the problem that I have with this. You want to talk about things you want to get fired up about? The league let Vontaze Burfict float around for how long? He almost killed Antonio Brown. He almost killed Antonio Brown. That's not hyperbole. He almost killed a player in a totally unnecessary tackle attempt. And the league let it go. They didn't crucify him when they had the opportunity. And so it kept happening and kept happening. And finally, the league had to start suspending him for dangerous tackles. And then he was just blackballed out of the NFL. You have a real opportunity to get ahead of things here with Azeez Al-Shaair, but you won't. What you'll do is you'll wait and you wait and you wait until it's a playoff game. And they're playing either the Buffalo Bills or the Ravens or the Patriots or the Chiefs, and it's your demagogue of choice if you're the NFL and you're the oligarchs who run this thing. And he's going to take a cheap shot on Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game and injure him. He's going to break his leg, or he's going to concuss him and push him out of the game. And you're going to go, I can't believe this happened. And I'm going to go, well, where have you been for the last 5 years? Of course, that's what Azeez Al-Shaair thinks is necessary. See, I'm fired up off the bye week, just off different things than you guys. Now, out of all the stuff that everyone's mad about coming out of the bye week, one of the things is trades. I've seen trade talk. I've seen trades and trades and trades, and we should trade for this guy, Chris Olave, having 2 touchdowns this weekend. Everyone's two-fisted pounding the table going, we need to trade for Olave. Chris, don't you think that game does nothing but drive his price up?
Yes.
That pick just went from a 3rd to maybe a 2nd. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I might still be comfortable with that. Knowing what Brandon Beane has done with those 2nd-round picks, I'd be willing to fire some of them into the sun. The fact that Brandon Beane has drafted Cody Ford and Boogie Basham with second-round picks, I'm sorry. All of the James Cook love that we're getting out of this, fire it into the sun. Take those second-round picks and fucking spend them now on a guy you know can play in the NFL. I don't care anymore. I've come beyond this. This is my overreaction. I've moved on from the idea of we don't need to make a trade. I think we need to make the most aggressive trades possible. Because the Bills have showed us that with their picks, they're going to get you a guy like TJ Sanders. They're going to get you a guy like Cody Ford. God forbid a Boogie Basham. So for everybody who says Bean can't fail in the draft and we really need those picks.
We can see him this weekend. He's on the practice squad for Carolina.
Who is?
Boogie.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, he's on the practice squad.
Oh my God. Do you guys see this? Take that second round pick, run it to the commissioner's office and go, hey, listen, we're gonna give the Saints the second round pick for Chris Olave. Right now. Right now, tonight at 8:46 p.m. The Buffalo Bills trade for Chris Olave. Give him a second round pick. Chris, second round pick and a player. Who do they want?
Curtis Samuel.
Take him. Take him. It's yours. You need a wide receiver to fill the hole? I'll give you Terrell Shavers. I'll give you anybody. I don't care.
We know that Loomis doesn't believe in the cap. He can take Curtis Samuel's contract.
It's wild to me that we're still sitting here talking about this. My overreaction from the weekend was watching how how other teams have these super skilled wide receivers. But then I think about it and I go, man, these offensive explosions. Does anybody notice that the skill position rooms for some of these teams just showed their whole ass?
I'd just like to point out that Tracy stopped watching the Charlie Sheen doc to watch us.
Tracy, I love you.
Cheers to that.
Tracy, I'll raise a glass to you. I'll raise a glass to you. You're the best. Teams that have built through the offensive side of the football showed their absolute ass this weekend. And I feel like for all the people who are screaming about how the Bills should have invested more draft capital, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you also have to acknowledge that sometimes you can be wrong in how you execute it. It has to be done properly or else it looks like a mess. Look at some of what we saw. Miami had literally almost as many turnovers as they had points. But did anybody notice in a day when Tua literally could not throw downfield to save his life, their running backs finished with only 4 receptions for 18 yards. You've invested multiple day 2 picks in Devon Achane and what's the other running back's name? I don't know. The guy out of Tennessee. The fact that you've sunk premium draft capital into players who in these moments, when you know they have receiving chops and you still refuse to use them, guys, don't worry though. Stephen Ross says that he's not yet ready to make a decision. It doesn't get worse than what happens to Miami. Miami's trip to Cleveland was the worst thing that's happened to a football team all season. I defy you to find me a more offensive football game than what happened to Miami in Cleveland. And their owner came out and said, nah, I'm not ready to make a move yet. Chris, what's it going to take?
Easy. The Unabomber. What Mike McDaniel
He
looked
did look like
that.
He did look like
I think
the
McNeil tweeted that out on Twitter. He looked exactly like the Unabomber in his rain jacket.
So when I go down the list, like Steve Noble, I'm cooking a T-bone steak and watching you guys on a 50-inch TV in the patio. Yeah, Steve, try to keep up with me. Dude, I love it. I love Steve Noble, and I love our steak cooking community. Guys, for those of you unfamiliar, uninitiated with the old Grills Mafia, why don't you come out to one? Just see what we're up to. It's like a tailgate, except you also have a food contest going on. It's awesome. Olivia, Tua throws 3 interceptions. They bench him, and his replacement almost throws an interception on the very first play to the pitch. Yeah, it really was bad. Like, everything was bad. I'm drinking a diver down while listening to this. Thanks, EJ Snyder. Kel, I love EJ. EJ, we talk to EJ what, Chris, every day?
I mean, I do because I edit their Patreon episode, so...
I love that we have the group chat with me, Brett, and EJ, and I bother them with things. They bother, like, we all just, like, there's a nice camaraderie there where they're like, these guys are idiots, but they're our people. So Miami invested all this high round draft capital in running backs and then refuses to use them and just loses abysmally because of it. Let's talk about the Jaguars. For everybody who goes, oh, you have a quarterback on a contract, now you got to invest around him with young talent. And if you don't, you're a failed franchise if you don't invest all your early round capital in offensive talent. Well, how about this, Chris? The Jaguars have invested first and second round picks in every round for years. Both of their offensive tackles were first round and second round picks. 2 of their 3 starting wide receivers were first and second round picks. Their quarterback, who is now on an extension, was a number 1 overall pick. Their starting running back, Trevor Etienne, or is it Travis Etienne? One of those brothers, they both suck. Doesn't matter. Their starting running back was a first round pick. That was something Bills fans have been pounding the table for, going draft a first round running back. Luckily, we didn't have to. We got James Cook. All of that firepower and an offensive head coach, and they still had a game where they scored 7 points. And they're ranked 22nd in the NFL in points scored through 7 games. It turns out every time they go up against a team with a pass rush like Houston, Seattle, the Rams, it just completely unravels their offense, full of highly drafted players like some other team I know who wilts under a relentless pass rush. Chris, it's almost like having a really good pass rush changes the texture of a football game, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if I have an offense, but I'm subject to constant blitzing and pass rush, it changes what my offense is capable of producing.
Or like when you leave a pitcher in and then you want to go to the bullpen, but you go to the guy that you used the game before that gave up a couple of runs, and then George Springer hits a home run.
I love how you just find a way to work it in, just to rub it in.
Mark's here.
Yeah, Mark! Nothing made me happier, okay? Nothing made me happier. Me and my friend Mark Smith fight each other tooth and nail every day in a group chat. Although I ignore it now lately because I just have too much negativity going on in my life elsewhere. So I can't fight Mark every day. But me and Mark bag on each other. And yet last night I turned on the audio version. Like I went to ESPN's app and I listened from the 4th inning on to the Blue Jays game because I was like, oh, they're losing. All right, well, this sucks, but I'm really pulling for my friend Mark here. And when George Springer hit that home run, I got off the couch and my wife is like, what are you doing? And I'm just standing up quietly fist pumping. And I don't even know why, because I don't root for the team. It just had to be one of the coolest moments in baseball. There's sports moments that you love and that you recognize and that you're there for. George Springer hitting that home run in that moment, I had goosebumps. I was fist pumping. And then when it was over, I texted Mark. I was as soon as it ended, I was like, Mark, congratulations. I'm so happy. Party at the Triple C. Guys, for those of you who don't know, the Cheektowaga Country Club, party on Friday night for Game 1 of the World Series, Blue Jays against the Dodgers. We're going to blow it out. We are going to blow the Cheektowaga Country Club out. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's on Genesee Street in Buffalo. Make sure you Google it and show up on Friday night because I will be there and I will be in rare form.
There is a dilemma for Canadians on Friday. I don't know if you were aware of that.
No.
So I guess it's if you can't go to the World Series Game 1 in Toronto, your next bet is, well, let's go to Buffalo and see the Maple Leafs. Because the Maple Leafs drop at 7:30 here in Buffalo. And then I think Game 1 for the World Series is 8 o'clock. I'm going to the Sabres game on Friday. I'll be in the suite because I'm better than you. But it'll be a fun time. I think Sneaky Joe put on Twitter this morning, if this is going to be like one of the least attended to Leaf game in Buffalo, because it's easier for Leaf fans to come across the border to go to a Sabres game but you also got Toronto in the World Series. That might be more important.
Mark Smith, that was a weirdly emotional text exchange last night, but I'll allow it. Go Bills. I love you, Mark. I'd kiss you on the mouth in the most hetero way possible. There we go. Now it's a Rockpile Report. So how about them Texans, huh? Everybody's like, oh, guys, why can't we have the skill position groups? Why aren't we investing draft picks in this? Do you want to see what happens when you invest draft picks in the thing? How about the Texans playing the Seahawks? Anybody else stay up till 1:30 in the morning to watch the end of that game? Because I did. Just out of morbid curiosity. How bad can this get? Nico Collins has been a non-factor this entire season. Anybody who plays fantasy football knows that. This is a Houston team that has spent picks, UFA dollars. They've traded for guys. They traded for Chris 2 years in a row. They traded to get what's his name? Stephon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills. They traded for Stephon Diggs. Then they said, screw it. We're going to build through the draft and we're going to overpay our draft picks. We're going to give them fully guaranteed contracts. Do you know that so far this year they've posted 3 games of 20 points or less? 3. Last night, they had 6 offensive points going into the fourth quarter. This is a team that has routinely invested in its skill positions. They paid Joe Mixon. They picked up Nick Chubb. They added Woody Marks late. I think it's a throwaway. The fact that he's playing, though, shows you just how thin everything there is. I'm not saying that the Bills don't need another acquisition. But wouldn't you guys be angrier knowing that the Buffalo Bills have one single game under 20 points through 6 games despite this talentless offensive roster? Like, when you look at what this is, Chris, there's a tweet by Adam Pencil where he talks about slot targets. And this is fascinating to me. I think our ineptitude is mired less in the amount of talent we have and the more in how it's being used. Show the people. Chris?
Is this the one from Nate?
No. This is, the first one's just Adam, where he goes, good news, Kincaid and Palmer are lighting it up when Brady aligns him in the slot. Of course you don't have it.
You didn't send it to me.
I sent it to you.
No, you didn't.
Bad news, I got it out of the email that literally got sent to you. That's why they're all open on my computer.
There are 3 tweets that you sent me.
There's 4. Good news, Kincaid and Palmer are lighting it up when Brady aligns him in the slot. Bad news, a major step back from Shakir as a slot receiver in 2025. At the same time, do you know that in 2025, Dalton Kincaid, when aligned in the slot, is outperforming Khalil Shakir in EPA per target when he's lined up in the slot? And then you think back to that game. You think back to that game where against Atlanta when he's gone and everyone goes, why does this offense feel like Sisyphus? We're just pushing a rock uphill. Oh, I know, because they've run this quietly through the tight end room. I've actually called it the secret sauce. Over and over and over again, I've referred to the tight end room as the Bills' secret sauce. And then you get to a place where we lose the most talented of that group, and the whole thing turns into shit. Everything goes tits up. Brady doesn't know what to do with his hands. We're not play calling properly. That doesn't shock me. I think the NFL caught up to Khalil Shakir. He snuck up on people in 2023 and 2024. And on third downs, he is uniquely versatile in the fact that his contact balance is so good he doesn't go down at first brush. So when you throw it to him on third and short, even third and long, it's very hard to bring him down. But when you can get Dalton Kincaid in the slot, this offense is much more productive. And that's just an unfortunate truth. And so then what you look at, if you're mad about the way this goes, Chris, finally, the curated tweet you did put in the notes from Nate Geary. It's hilarious that in a tweet where someone has the graph of tight end receiving efficiency versus on-field participation, You have guys like Tucker Kraft and Sam Laporta, whose teams know that they are ultimately important to what they're trying to achieve out there on the football field. You have Hunter Henry, who's out there for a significant portion of the snaps that the Patriots take on offense. Trey McBride. Trey McBride is a very good NFL tight end. And yet at the same time, when you look at where Dalton Kincaid is, I should have circled it for you.
Or I should have just gotten the chart like was on the screen right now because you're dumb and you're just like, oh, here's a tweet with a chart. Throw that up. How about the full chart? Look at that. Dalton Kincaid. He's all the way at the top.
He leads the NFL in yards per route run for a tight end. And yet he's playing less than 55% of the Buffalo Bills offensive snaps. For all of the Bills fans screaming into the ether about how we needed to have invested more and we need to do this differently and we need to do that differently. This is like you're out there trying to figure out how to fix a 10 millimeter bolt. And you have a 10 millimeter socket. You're just trying not to use it. You're like, no, I'm sure I have standard measurement wrenches that can do the same job. You can't. You can't and you don't. You have a handful of skill players who are really good at what they do. You need to empower them to do their fucking jobs. There are rookies. This is what's the most damning, okay? Tyler Warren is a first-round draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts at tight end. Do you know that his offensive snap share is over 75% and his yards per route run that he achieves is almost as high as Dalton Kincaid's? He is a major part of the Colts' success. The Bills have the most effective tight end, and they don't play him. They don't play him. It's stunning. And what this all points to is that for all of you who want to sit here and Monday morning quarterback the things of, oh, the Bills, we need to trade for Olave, we need to do this, we need to do that. I'd argue the coaching staff is still the problem. What you need to do is make the most of what you have. Because it's not like you've been handed nothing. It's not like you inherited, Chris, your cookie analogy when Brian Daboll arrived at the Buffalo Bills. Do you want to run me through it? Walk me through it. It's 2019.
Yeah, we get Daboll, and you look at it like it
was 2018, and Jake Kroom was a starting tight end on this team.
So you look at it like Brian Daboll's a cook, and Brandon Beane owns the restaurant, and Brandon Beane's like, all right, I want you to make some chocolate chip cookies for our dessert menu. And he's like, Brian Daboll goes, all right, great. I'm gonna need some vanilla. I'm gonna need some flour, some sugar, some chocolate chips. I'm gonna need all these things to make chocolate chip cookies. And then Brandon Beane just goes, here's a bunch of chocolate chips. Here's Josh Allen. No, but I need all these other things to make it good. No, I don't have that. All I have is Josh Allen. Here, do something with it.
That was 2018 Buffalo Bills offense. Here in 2025, the year of our Lord, the Buffalo Bills are a much different franchise in terms of the talent that they can afford their coordinators, and they can afford their position coaches, and they can give this staff to work with. And they're doing less with it than any team we've seen come before them. And that's a problem. But that's a coaching problem. So for all the people who think that it's an investment issue, they go, oh, the Bills didn't spend enough in the draft. You know, Brian Thomas Jr. set a record for dropping 11 passes this weekend.
Help my fantasy team.
Everyone goes, oh my God, we needed to have traded up to draft BTJ. He was the lowest of the top picks. Because who went? Marvin Harrison Jr. Who else? It was Marvin Harrison Jr. It was
Roma
Dunes, Malik Neighbors, and then Brian Thomas Jr. was the fourth of those guys to get drafted. And everyone was like, oh, well, the Bills should have tried to trade up and get BTJ.
Harrison, Neighbors, Roma Dunes, and then BTJ.
At 23.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, the Bills should have tried to move up and get him. Do you know that guy dropped 11 passes? He set an NFL record for the most passes dropped in a single game. You would have thought the quarterback would have stopped throwing to him at a certain point. But that's how one-dimensional the Jaguars are. So for everybody who's terrified of that team, know that not only does their quarterback get caught picking boogers on the sideline on national television, but also they're that. When it comes down to brass tacks, if you play strong defense against them, they become that football team.
As I'm looking at this, I just pulled up the 2024 draft. 31, 32, 33, 30, 40. You had 4 wide receivers go. I'd argue the last one is the one that stands out right now in the NFL, Lad McConkey.
Oh, Lad McConkey far and away.
We should have listened to Aaron Quinn, who was a Lad McConkey stan. We should have taken him over Keon Coleman. That's the new Boogie Basham Creed Humphrey. Is Lad McConkey instead of Keon Coleman.
It's just, guys, if we're going to freak out about things, if we're going to spend the bye week being mad about stuff, let's be intelligent about the things that we're mad about, okay? Let's be smart about why we're angry and where we're throwing. Really? I'll drop 11 passes for half his salary. It's a real bargain. Kel in the comments. Oh, it's amazing. He just signed a new deal. Pretty sure they can't renegotiate it right now. It's hilarious. Guys, ultimately, this is where we are. We've reached a place as Bills fans where we are so we're so defensive of this team, and we feel stuck now. I said this for years. After we lost the first game against the Chiefs back in 2020, we lost the first AFC Championship game we went to. I said, okay, just don't let this turn into the Colts. And then we lost to them again in that 13 seconds game. And I said, uh-oh, now we are the Colts. We're the Colts. We're going to lose to this team in heartbreaking fashion over and over and over again. And where you end up is a place where you as a franchise get this dysfunctional feeling of, I have to overreact to everything. I have to overreact to a team getting good. I have to, even if it's only for a month or two, I have to overlook all of my opponent's warts and only focus on the things that are good about them because it makes what's good about my team look shabby. Even though you have the reigning league MVP and you have one of the better offensive lines in the entire AFC, and you have one of, Chris, I don't think I'm being crazy when I say this, one of the better running back groups in the AFC.
Yeah.
I think that you have a defense that's loaded with playmakers that are just being poorly coordinated. We have all kinds of things. And I did make a snarky tweet. Okay, I did make a snarky tweet about, like, the Bills have, we all want an upgraded wide receiver, and Brandon Beane was like, hey, we have a wide receiver upgrade at home. And then the wide receiver upgrade is Gabe Davis. I made it, I tweeted, and then I forgot about it. And I opened up my phone and was like, holy shit, you people are all really angry.
Some people tag Gabe in it.
Which is crazy, because I was being funny. I'm being cheeky. You're all not. And you all need to do what me and my partner are about to do. Take a deep breath. A goose fraba. The Buffalo Bills are in an amazing spot when it comes to the AFC. Now, there's not a lot of margin for error, but also I like where we are. As long as there are no more catastrophic injuries, as long as there are no more giant derailments of our coaching staff, I'm hoping that's where most of the change comes from. Because it has to. This is the hand we're dealt. We picked this. But this is the same hand that we picked that got us to the AFC title game last year. Now, you can go ahead and hope that they add someone at the trade deadline. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. We're going to get Michael Hoecht. We're going to get Larry Ogunjobi back. We're going to get back Malik or what's his name? Hairston.
Yes.
Max Hairston. Doesn't matter. Malik, Max, I haven't seen him play. I don't have to get your name right. What I know is there are reinforcements coming for a team that, for as bad as we feel about it, have not played that poorly when you look around the league. I thought that's what everyone was going to take away from the weekend. And instead, you all lost your minds. So now I'm here being crazy and hyperbolic and yelling into the microphone about things. But what I'll say is that when Sean McDermott set the fan base on fire, when he goes, I believe the answers are in-house. I'm not going to lie, this might be one of the first times I actually believe him. It's one of the first times I actually believe a Sean McDermott press conference. When I watch the rest of the league and I see what the Bills have, and I know what some of these players used to be, and I know how we've been historically with our schemes and our structures and the way that we organize things, we're a much better team than the 4-2 team you see before you. And you're 4-2. Now, yeah, you're going up against the Carolina Panthers team that's 4-3 and has tied the Kansas City Chiefs for record, which is hilarious. Like, Chris, isn't that funny? My favorite's that tweet.
What is this, a measured take from Drew?
Yeah, right? Joe Fryer. He's like, wait, what? I didn't show up here for this. I showed up here for fire and brimstone. I'm telling you all, the answers might actually just be in-house. The tools are there to be a good football team. You need to just utilize them. Like I said, going back to the defense and the fact that they've overcomplicated this to a degree where players who have been routinely available game after game after game, they've made splash play after splash play, and all of a sudden they look lost in their own scheme. That doesn't just happen, right? Like, there's some guys who loaf. I've seen loafers, the Albert Hansworths of the world, the Mario Williams of the world.
In Miami.
Those guys got paid a lot of money, and they never performed. They got paid, and then they shut. The Marcel Darius post-contract extension. We've seen what quit looks like in football players. These aren't quitters. These are just poorly orchestrated pieces who need a better job done coaching and teaching and scheming. And I have a question as to whether or not this Bills defense, and maybe some of the inferiority complex, that the residual inferiority of losing to the Chiefs the way you did, where no one could cover anybody in that playoff game against Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, didn't trickle down into the start of this season, where Bobby Babich decided he needed to change literally everything about how we cover players. Guess what? It's not working. Sometimes you just have to accept that you threw rock, paper, scissors, and you threw scissors, and they threw rock. And that's it. That's it. And the game's over. You lost. And now you go back and you don't have to overturn the apple cart. You literally just go back to what you're strong at and dare them to do it again. I hope that in this bye week, the Buffalo Bills coaching staff found their balls. That's what I hope. What about you guys in the comments? What do you hope that the Buffalo Bills coaching staff found this week? Our safeties are tools. Yes. Our safeties have not played well. I said it in the preview episode that we recorded earlier tonight. There needs to be no more ego about this football team. Taylor Rapp is setting career worsts in a lot of statistical categories. Then maybe it's time for Cam Lewis to get his time as a safety for the Buffalo Bills defense. All options need to be on the table for the Buffalo Bills. Cam Lewis taking over for Taylor Rapp. When you think about wide receiver usage, maybe it's time to kick Keon Coleman inside. You know, we talked about that a little bit at length. The idea that, guess what? It's not fair to, Elijah Moore is a slot receiver. I don't give a shit what you are. We brought in Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, all these guys, because Tyrell Shavers, because you're versatile. All right, then get out there and be versatile. Get out there and do a job so that we can have Keon Coleman produce something, because otherwise that second round pick is just another Boogie Basham.
Cody Ford.
It's another Cody Ford. Can't have that.
Sweatpants at a steakhouse.
The day I was standing outside the Buffalo Chop House and I saw Cody Ford walking in sweatpants. I liked the Aaron Quinn. So it was me, Greg Thompson from Cover One, and Aaron Quinn. We're standing outside one of Buffalo's best steakhouses. And Cody Ford, literally wearing a t-shirt and sweatpants, walks in. And Aaron Quinn.
Oh, it was like a velour tracksuit because I caught him walking out. He had the t-shirt zip up. Everything matched, just a velour tracksuit at a steakhouse. That's how you know you don't give a shit on the field.
And what I love is that, like Larry David, Aaron Quinn lost his mind. He was like, "What? I had to find jeans and a button-down shirt for this, and this asshole." And I was like, "Yep, that's that. He makes millions of dollars. He can tip that waiter $285, and you can't." Ipso facto, he gets to wear whatever the hell he wants. Just reading through some of the comments. Let's see. They look like they are overcomplicating on defense. They need to simple and go get the... Exactly, guys. Like, I want you guys to think about this. And Sophia St. George might have touched on something that I want to end the show with. McD will sadly never be considered a defensive mastermind. I want to talk a little bit about that. Everybody goes this way of like, oh, Sean McDermott and the staff and this and that. I want to take you through his coaching history. You know, he gets hired here, and his first offensive coordinator pick is Rick Dennison, who we all knew was awful. And I remember from that Broncos game, Chris, the heat wave game.
Yeah.
Hottest game ever in Ralph Wilson Stadium. They ran out of water. That's how hot it was. And I remember watching three wide receivers end up in the same place at like all within like 3 yards of each other on the field on a passing play. And Tyrod Taylor had no choice but to just boogie on out and run for 3 yards.
How many times are we going to go through coordinators, special teams, offensive, defensive?
Well, listen.
And we do those changes until we get to, no, McDermott's the problem.
Well, and this is the conversation, right? Because this is my biggest takeaway from the weekend, and I think it's the thing that's not getting enough press. When you look around the NFL, the things that work, the teams that work are well coordinated, but a lot of it's because it's on the back of really good coordination. And then you look at the Lions, you look at the job they did against Tampa Bay this week. You look at the job they do every week. They're aggressive. They're physical. They took the Chiefs, if it wasn't for the referees putting their thumb on the scale. The Detroit Lions take the Chiefs to the wire and probably beat them. And in that way, I look at this and I go, okay, why is it that coordinators can leave these franchises and these guys bring in new people and it's full of fresh ideas and they just continue to execute and everything works? And then you have the Buffalo Bills, where when you look at every coordinator-head coach relationship, it's always fractured acrimoniously. Rick Dennison never should have been hired, but he was, and he was terrible. And so he was fired. The following year, he hires Brian Daboll. Now he's got Leslie Frazier, he's got Brian Daboll, and that's great. Except during the home opener against the San Diego Chargers, Sean McDermott takes away play calling from Leslie Frazier, and he's calling the defensive plays on the sideline. That is a move. NFL Network talked about it. They were like, this is done. Leslie Frazier's going to demand his release because you as a coach can't treat an underling this way. And somehow, Sean McDermott repaired that relationship. And we all at the time gave him an applause and said, good for you, Sean. You are this guy who 2 years in a row, right? Like, Chris, think about the move that he made to almost fracture the locker room when he put Tyrod Taylor on the bench and put in Nathan Peterman. And then he threw 5 interceptions. And McDermott had to go face the locker room. And he somehow smoothed that over. And everyone goes, oh, Sean McDermott, team builder and genius. And then the following year, he almost alienates his defensive coordinator. But everyone goes, nope, Leslie Frazier didn't quit. He seems like he's happy. He's fine. Everything's great. Sean McDermott's the man. And then when Brian Daboll leaves, you can tell there's no love lost, right? But even before that, Heath Farwell. Can we talk about Heath Farwell? Heath Farwell was the special teams coordinator during the 13 seconds fiasco. Do you know that Heath Farwell, I have this on, I have sources, the night after the 13 seconds game, security wasn't allowed to go home until 2 o'clock in the morning because there was a screaming match going on inside one of the conference rooms at One Bills Drive between a GM, a head coach, and a special teams coordinator. And at the end of that screaming match, everybody left, and then there was no announcement that we had fired our special teams coordinator. Just the next year, he worked for Jacksonville. Weird how that happens, right? Weird how a coordinator who you didn't even announce left suddenly is coaching for a different team. Chris, it almost sounds like he quit, and you're embarrassed to say it.
Correct.
So then you go down the list and you start to look at the way that the coordinator relationships that have revolved around Sean McDermott have kind of evolved, and it's not good. The Ken Dorsey experience, the Joe Brady experience, now the Bobby Babich experience. You start questioning who was even brought in for an interview over Bobby Babich. Why was there never like a Vic Fangio type hire? Or is, you know, some of you like to decry the Tyler Dunn reporting. When Tyler Dunn wrote his 3-part series about Sean McDermott, a lot of you decried it as a hatchet job. Well, it's funny that there aren't many NFL coordinators, founded, proven NFL coordinators who have ever worked for the Buffalo Bills under Sean McDermott, even though this is a dream job. You have a ton of talent. You have the MVP of the league as your quarterback. And yet you have to turn over your coordination to rookies, first-timers, guys cutting their teeth. Chris, why is that?
I have no idea.
It might just be because you as a head coach are kind of an ass clown. You're afraid of outside criticism. You're afraid of not, like in business, what you have is this. I've dealt with a lot of managers. I've been a manager for a long time. You can have people who are really, really, really good at their job. And those people just operate. They don't question. They just operate. They exist. They're light on their feet. And they don't mind strong voices in the room with them because they see it as collaboration. Then you have the people who are really bad at their job. And they just hope that strong people will come in and carry them to success. And then you have the curse of the slightly above average. The guy who has a chip on his shoulder because he goes, well, I never thought I'd get this experience, and I never want to give it up. So I'm never going to allow someone who might have a different voice than mine, or who might challenge some of the things that I say and erode my position, or God forbid, outperform me at my own task. And so they surround themselves with weaker employees simply to preserve their position. Now, I'm not going to say that Sean McDermott didn't see promise in Joe Brady and Bobby Babich. But what I'll say is it's telling that in a Super Bowl window, this team is incapable of going out and getting a proven offensive or defensive coordinator. They're beholden to, hey, we found this guy off the scrap heap from Matt Rule's coaching staff. Hey, this guy's dad was on our staff and Bobby Babich has been in the system for a while. We'll give him a shot. Chris, does that sound like the actions of a Super Bowl? Like, hey, we have to win now in a window franchise?
I don't know. We're having fun in the chat discussing head coaching hires.
I just know that if there's anything anyone should be outraged about coming out of the bye week, it's this idea that Sean McDermott has somehow been allowed with no organizational pressure to operate like this for years. Terry Pagula might actually be the worst thing for the Buffalo Bills. and the Buffalo Sabres.
Simonelli.
And all of Buffalo Simonelli. That's all you have to say. Guys, it's one of the most offensive things I've ever come up with. I can't even say it out loud on this podcast. I only put it in print to a handful of people.
Just me and Christian Simonelli.
And one group chat. Ryan Laisel, if you're out there, you know. The real ones know. I've said some awful things. But I'll tell you what, you guys can right all of these ships by simply winning football games going forward. Get your shit together, win some games. Prove that you as a coaching staff have what it takes to go win a title against coaching staffs that, guess what? You're going to have to deal with the Eagles, who have a sort of staff that's been there. The Chiefs, who have a staff that's been there.
See him in 2 weeks.
Like, you're going to have to contend with these guys. Sean McDermott is going to have to contend with his own inadequacy week over week over week. And if you can't bring this group together and get them to, as groups, as your offensive coordinating team, better use the talent you have on hand rather than pounding the table. You know, I yell at my kids, Chris, for asking for more food when there's still food on their plate. The Buffalo Bills right now are the equivalent of that. And at the same time, I'm looking at the defensive side of the ball going, McDermott, what are you here for if this defense is so bad? Get your house in order. Step in. And he said flat out, I don't anticipate a world where I take the play calling over this season. If you're so confident Bobby Babich is the guy, is it just because you don't want to pay somebody else because you're scared of somebody else with more, maybe a little more gravitas taking the reins and doing a better job than you can? Or is it truly because you believe Bobby Babich has the answers? I don't know, but you better prove it this week. This is the prove it week where all of this conjecture becomes reality. The Buffalo Bills have a golden opportunity to prove that all of their bluster is not fake. It's not showmanship. It's not window dressing. It's not excuses. We firmly believe that the answers are in-house. Okay, make it a reality. Otherwise, we have to start questioning, like I said last week, ladder theory. Take this thing all the way up. Who's to blame for this mess? I hope we don't have to go there. This has been a lot of fun. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? That might be this is what I love. I love that I can watch the chat just going and I know it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. You guys are the best. This community. Sophia St. George, that's why we love you, Drew. This thing, I can't wait to see how beautifully or disastrously it ends. But for tonight, we got to get the hell out of here. I'm Drew Gear. That's Chris Kruger. And this has been your post-bye week Rockpile Report. I'll see you on the other side.